back. Welcome back. Open minds. Yep, we back. This the Decoding the Christmas tree. Tree Magic Part 2. We did a video earlier on Jumanji, the game, talking about it being made out of a tree, the wood that it was made out of, the pieces, the game pieces, what they was made out of, and everything that had to do with the game was made out of nature. And we talked and I discussed and said I think the game was made from ancient times out of a magical tree, because trees are portals. Trees are alive. Trees are sentient. We just lost the capability to communicate and be able to understand and communicate with the trees. So on this one, I'm gonna follow up what we was talking about on that one. If you didn't see that one, you might want to go back and check that one out. It's called Jumanji, and Jumanji Decoded. And we was talking earlier about the trees and what the game was made out of. So you might want to check that out before you check this one out if you just tuning in to this. The Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is a special tree. We dress the tree up around Christmas times. Get ready for Santa Claus to come. Trees. Like, why do we do that? Why do we dress the tree up? Why do we put a star on the tree? They say it's a pagan holiday, Christmas. And they say it's a ritual of you putting the lights and the bulbs on the tree and the star at the top and the graffiti and stuff that you put on the tree. They say that's a ritual. Going back to the old days, and they say it got some demonic or some satanic worship to it. And that might be true. But I'm gonna give y'all my theory, on what I think this tree and why we dress it up. It's all different kind of trees. This is a Christmas tree. We got apple trees, we got, plum trees, pear trees, all these things grow on the trees and they all come out spherical shaped formation. So that's funny that, the tree bears fruit and its fruit comes in different forms, but mostly spherical formations. Then when we dress the Christmas tree up, we put bulbs on it and lights. That's very strange. I'm gonna take y'all to I'm gonna share my screen now to the tree of life. We're gonna look at the tree of life and see, do we see some type of similarity to the Christmas tree. Okay, now I got some images of the tree of life on the screen. This is a famous photo right here of the tree of life, and they depicting it as a bulb, as oval, with layers at that, as a bulb with ovals and layers. To our left, we have different forms of the tree of life. different kind of ways. You can draw different kind of ways. It's all different kind of trees, and different kind of trees bear fruit. The tree is a very powerful because it corresponds with the as of above, so below theory. It corresponds with that. With the branches going out and the leaves, and then the roots and the root system. The different leaves that feed off the sun, the root system that feed off the water of the earth, the soil. As above, so below. And there's different kind of trees that bear fruit. So my theory of why we dress the Christmas tree up with bulbs and lights is we might very well be living on a tree, a cosmic tree, a different kind of tree. As above, so below, that goes in different sequences and different combinations as of we above land and then above water. You know what I'm saying? They doing the same thing. They looking for food underwater. They living, they're surviving underwater. And then you come up on top of water. We're living and surviving on top of water. You know. So this very well might be a tree. And it goes in correlations with the water. They say air is another form of water. It's just a more denser form than water, and we really breathe in water, a different form of water. And the water that we actually drink is a different form of water. Crystals, the quartz crystal, they say is a form of water. All these things is different forms of water. Ice, different form of water. Mist, different form of water. So it's different forms of things, different types of things. And this might very well be a tree because our ancient people talk about the tree of life. The tree of life back in the day. They always talk about a tree of life. Well, we on the earth, which is a spherical ball. And they say that we on the tree of life. So the earth and different planets might be a different form of fruit to this tree. A different kind of cosmic fruit to this cosmic tree that bears fruit that comes in spherical formations as planets. Now we only see 1% of the light spectrum. So we're very shut off. We only see 1%. We don't see ultraviolet. We don't see X-ray. We don't see gamma. We don't see none of that. We just see 1% of what we see, which is the colors of the rainbow. All the colors that the rainbow make, that's what we see. And we break down into this third dimensional off of those colors. We don't see nothing else, all the other things that's going on. Other animals and plants see and hear different kind of ways. So I say that to say this. We might very well be living on a tree, and the fruit of the tree is planets, moons, stars, different kind of things. If you look at the Christmas tree, which we're going to go back to the Christmas tree. We got bulbs. We got lights. We got a star at the top. We got shiny things going around. We got all different type of ornaments that we put on the tree that can very well be the things that we're looking and seeing in the sky. Now, I know they say tree have branches, but we only see so much of the light spectrum. So who's to say that within that darkness is some type of branch that we don't see. We know that the planets are connected together in solar systems and, you know, different things like that. So who's to say that we're not seeing what's really going on? I got a video that I'm gonna show y'all of a man who talks about seeing the sky like in real time, for real. Like he says the sky is actually a hologram. We're actually living in a hologram, and everything we see in the sky is actually fake. And he talks about a time when the power system of the sky actually failed. This was a time hundreds of years ago, before cameras, before, you know what I'm saying, video, and where people first started out drawing and writing and drawing things that they saw. So before cameras, people drew what they saw in the sky. We're going to look at, before we look at the video, I'm going to show y'all a picture of just that. A painting of something that somebody drew in the sky. Or what they seen in the sky, I mean. We right here. This is a famous UFO sighting in Germany in like the 1500s or so. It's famous. If you a UFO watcher, or, you know what I'm saying, do your research, you have seen this video before. This is what they say they saw in the sky. This was before photos. They had to draw and paint what they saw. This is Germany. And they said this is what they saw. They described it as UFOs. But who's to say primitive people describe things just like in the Bible, just like with religion, they describe things from a primitive aspect. They don't know what they're really looking at. So they might be looking at technology, they might not. You know what I'm saying? You can't really tell. It's like if we go to another world, we ain't gonna be able to tell what's what, because it's a different everything, different colors, different food, different plants, different everything. So who's to say what they saw was UFOs, or who's to say all this in the air was what they saw was pieces of a tree? So they reported this in Germany. They saw spherical objects. They saw rods, and it was moving. It looked like they was fighting. Okay. So that's what they said they saw, because they wasn't seeing the regular sky. They were seeing something else. So they described what they saw as UFOs fighting. You know, when actually they could be seeing something totally different. Like, look at the picture of how they depicted of what they saw. Like, well, you got to put yourself in their shoes at that time frame. They might have been saying, look at how, I'm going to just put this reference out there, how the wind blows the tree, and the tree moves, and the branches flap against each other, and the leaves touch each other. So if we looking at something fake in the sky, and these people actually saw what was real, maybe that's some type of form of what they was seeing. It might have looked like they was fighting and doing what they was doing, because it's a cosmic tree. They just couldn't really explain what they saw. So, you know, that's a theory, because this is a lot in this picture of what they saw. And we have other ancient pictures where they depict UFOs, and they draw different type of objects like it looked like UFOs. This looked like something different. It looked like tic tacs, round balls, and it just looked like it looked crazy. If they, it may work, it may be that the sky opened up and they really saw what was going on. And it might not have to do nothing with no UFOs, but have to do with a cosmic tree. Okay, so we're gonna look at this video of this man that talks about the time before cameras and gives his aspect of what he saw or what he think is really in the sky. Okay, we got it right here. Okay, here we go. Listen to him, man, because he really he got an interesting point on what he's saying.
Some type of morphing as new data is taken into the fold. And I'm telling you all this because my bibliography has been published for everybody to see. And in that bibliography of over 1,300 books, it's freely published on Podia, and thousands of people now have downloaded that bibliography. It's the title of every book, author, date of publication, publisher, of every text that I have read in my two decades of research. And there's a lot of scientific books in there. And now I understand, by virtue of all those and amalgamating that information with all my historical chronological data, I now understand that our sky is entirely simulated, and that we have been deceived into believing that we're on a world that's hurling around the sun, and that this world itself it's a copy of somewhere else, of a real reality. This is the simulacrum is. Simulacrum, however you want to say it, the Latin pronunciation or mine, the simulacrum, it basically means, the definition of the word is a copy of something else. And that's where we're existing. This is what we're inside, a copy. So it's somewhere else the heavens are real. Somewhere else the sky is real. Somewhere else these continents and this world is real. But it's not here. We're in a hollow field, and that hollow field is doing its damnedest to convince us we're in a real reality, because it needs to. It needs us to believe that all this is real. The war, the pain, the death, the misery, the suffering. It needs that, because this is how spiritual beings, this is how growth is promoted, by suffering these things. But we're quarantined away from the real creation. And in the real creation, all this negative default programming, dungeon programming, suffering, this doesn't exist outside the construct. It's in here for our development. So when you look up at the sky, you're looking at a multi-tiered hologram that gives off the impression of parallax. And it's so sophisticated that the more we study it with telescopes, the more data that it feeds us. And it's always feeding us what we suspect. Let me give you an example. There's a phenomenon known in science that the more theories that are pushed on the field, the more the field responds with evidence of those theories. If there's anything that people in the collective begin to believe in, the collective programming responds back with physical phenomena to support that belief.
So he's saying basically it's a hologram computer, and it the more we look and try to find, the more it programs itself to give us information. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's saying. That's what we're looking at, and with the telescopes, and that's what's going on. The more we try to search and find, it's like, all right, we found this, we found that, another planet, we found this, we found that. It fakes it, basically.
So it's an interactive dynamic. It's the same thing I was telling you with the gazelle and the circle and the arrow. It's sympathetic magic, but now it's affecting the collective. So this is the danger of the media. The media builds for us a false world that doesn't exist, but it promotes. But what it's doing is fear different, fear mongering. And it wants the collective to fear this one certain thing, and then that one certain thing is reflected back as circumstances. What was only reported as news now becomes a part of the world construct because enough people feared it, and fear is very powerful negative base force. So this sky sim is specifically there to perpetuate the illusion that we're in a real reality, but it's not. And all this all these periodic cataclysms, these things that appear in the sky. My channel I have many videos that show old pictures of what people saw in the sky. So before the camera was invented, they did woodcuts and they did paintings and pictures. And there has been times when the sky sim power source failed and people actually saw what was up there. But because they were living in a different type of non-technological world, their frames of reference were primitive. So when we read the text of what they saw, they called them shields banging together with rods and thimbles and cog wheels, and they saw these things all moving in the sky. They were explaining that they saw basic machinery, and then
They was explaining what they saw. They might have said UFOs. They said machinery. They was basically trying to describe what they saw. So I say that to say this: every ancient UFO account from like before modern day times, ain't no telling what they saw. It could have been a UFO. It could have been some type of device. It could be anything, you know what I'm saying? But they gonna try to describe it to their best ability of what they saw. You know what I'm saying? In the government in modern day times, they're gonna describe everything that's weird that people wrote down or draw what they saw as UFO. Oh, that's a UFO in the back of that painting. Or that's this, you know what I'm saying? That's that. And it really might not even have to have nothing to do with a UFO and a little alien sitting in the UFO driver. It might not have nothing to do with that. They just say that.
more modern times when the sky sim has failed and the sun, moon, clouds, stars, everything just vanished, and all of a sudden people are looking up like, what the hell is that? They describe moving parts like a giant machine apparatus. And I provide many examples of this, and so as other people. And I am convinced that the sky is simulated, but it covers something else. Just like all the lunar phenomena. Most people are not aware that the moon has been photographed multiple times and stars have been photographed right through the dark shadow of the moon.
I have seen those videos. With the stars. You can see them through the moon.
It's impossible if the moon is physical. So we're looking at a hologram. The moon is hiding something else. Now, we've also seen a lot of telemetry and photographic evidence that the sun itself may not be 93 million miles away, and it's local. And this is very interesting because
all right, this is something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying, they trapped in their own little world. Like, you know what I'm saying, they just trapped. But go outside one night and just look at the moon. Look at the moon and try to figure out if the moon is in front of the sky or in back of the sky, or is it all together? Because if you look and gaze, just look hard enough, it looks like everything else is in back of the moon. And I know the moon is the closest thing to us and it's supposed to look like that, as they say, but it looked like the moon is really like in front of the sky. You got to look at it as weird. You know what I'm saying?
In a hologram, it'd be very easy to fool by optics. But there's other ways of knowing. There's other ways of perceiving things, and we don't always need the optics. We have like parallax. We use parallax, and the measurement of shadows gives away a lot. But especially the angles. This is how the Greeks measured distance. They always measured shadows compared to rods. Knowing the exact height of a rod gave them the distance of the shadow. The distance of the shadow from the height of the rod gave them the distance of whatever object they saw in the sky from the surface of the earth, and it was pretty accurate. Thales of Miletus was the first one to do this method. So, um, with the sky sim, we have this machinery that hides something, and it operates something. And there's even been modern times, there are hundreds of videos on YouTube about skyquakes. Skyquakes are this humming, this weird machine like sounds that are coming from the blue sky. And this is another phenomenon that's been recorded on platforms all around the world. I've seen a few YouTube videos about the skyquakes and the thunders and the humming sound that's coming from.
Yep, check those videos out, man. They be going viral now. And then they be getting took down, though. But you can still find some of them. People record the sounds that they hearing from the sky. You know what I'm saying? Some cities, they hear it for days, and they be trying to find out. They be thinking it's a factory, and it don't be no factory. It's just a noise coming from the sky loud. You know, check those videos out. It's truth in what he talking about. It's truth in what he's saying. So, you know, open minds. We ain't saying that everything is true. You got to be your own person and do the research. You know, we got open minds here, so you got to be open minded. But I say that to say this. That's his theory, and people got he talk about he talk about the sky turning off, a time when the sky turned off and people really saw what was behind the sky. You know what I'm saying? We might very well be on some type of cosmic tree. And I bring up that to bring up this, like with the fruit of the tree. The fruit of the tree produce the same fruit, right? Like an apple tree produce an apple. And if it's a red apple tree, it's gonna produce red apples. So let's talk about frequency for a minute. Let me share the screen. It's the frequency meter right here. It's the frequency meter. You know, and they say when you get to 700, you reach enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? And look at you gotta pay attention to the numbers in this meter because I'm finna correspond it with the tree. Like it goes up to 700, and they say we live in the third dimension. So we live in the third dimension, and we trapped in the third dimension. We somewhere around this 310, 350 to 400. You know what I'm saying? 400 is reason. It's certain things that vibrate higher on the planet. You feel me? It like he say, this might be a hologram of somewhere else. You got to look at the fruit in a tree. It's fruit on a high level of the tree. It's fruit on the bottom level of the tree. We might very well, Earth might very well be a planet on the third dimension of the tree, and vibrating on the third dimension of a tree. But the same fruit, which is I talk about the red apple, the same fruit, the same red apple, the same earth might exist on a higher dimension, a higher frequency, a higher plane. You know what I'm saying? We can very well reach that here by vibrating on a high level and getting past the low level because most people on this scale, since we in the third dimension, we only go up to 400 at best. Most people is still still battling, guilt, grief, fear. They feed us fear to keep us down here on the scale. You know what I'm saying? They want you to always be down here. They want your frequency to be down here. They want you to be angry in your pride. You know what I'm saying? Courage. You know what I'm saying? All of this. They want you to stay down here. But when you get past all of this, you start getting well. You start accepting and living. You know what I'm saying? You move up to reason and you move up to love and you move up to peace and enlightenment up the scale as you go. You feel me? You can vibrate on that level and you can use the trees and nature. We used to know how to do this to get there easier because it's certain, like I say, it's certain things on this planet that's vibrating at a higher level. Plants is vibrating at a higher level. So therefore we down here and we don't understand them. So they might very well be right here with us because apple is an apple. But they're on a higher plane of the apple. Still here and we can't comprehend to understand them. That's why you can't go talk to a tree. You can't go talk to this. But it used to be like that way back in the primordial days. You feel me? I think the aliens and higher societies, ancient societies, know this. They know this knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And the planet used to be on a higher level, but we got knocked down to the third dimension. So we used to be on a higher level. That's why they show the movies like Harry Potter, this Lord of the Rings, because they talking about a time when you could talk to trees. Um, we you talking about a time when you could talk to rocks, you could talk to the earth, you could talk to the water, the seas. It's a reason why the seas have names because they're alive. Everything on this planet is alive. It's just things vibrate on a different frequency, on a higher frequency. So at a time we did live amongst the gods. Um, the Atlantic Ocean, the Atlantic, what I'm saying, God, the Pacific, God. These are all gods. They vibrate at high frequencies. And the world is opening up and we're gonna start vibrating on a high frequency. So therefore those things is gonna be opened up and we're gonna see more and experience more because it's open to vibrate on these high levels. So that's my theory, which brings us back to the Christmas tree with the bulbs and the stars. So, like I said, these red bulbs, they at the bottom, they at the top, but they the same thing on this tree. And this top of the star, that's the top of that's heaven. That's where, you know, that's where when you get to the highest vibration, that's where source at. That's where God at. We vibrating little pieces of light, vibrating in like the lights of the tree, stars, bulbs might be planets. Everything else might be things. And I think we might be symbolizing what we're living on in the cosmic universe on a multi-dimensional level. And this might be past knowledge, passed down, twisted in stories, twisted in religion, twisted in stories, to where we got this now. and we really don't know the source of where it come from or what it symbolizes. All religions have its different take on it. Some religions say it's bad. Some religions say it's good. Some people say it's bad. Some people say it's good. Some people celebrate it. Some people don't. Some people say it got a dark history. Some people say keep doing it and don't tell your kids the truth about Santa Claus. But knowledge get passed down and passed down and passed down, and it get twisted. And I think this Christmas tree is one of them. I think all of the holidays is one of them. Is one got twisted throughout the years and the centuries and generations to where we really don't know the real meanings of them. But we might very well be living on a cosmic tree that we symbolize as the Christmas tree. And when the skies opened up back in the days and they saw these things, they might not have been UFOs, they might have been branches. As above, so below. Cosmic branches that don't look like leaves, don't look like pine trees, don't look like something totally different, but yet the same thing, as above, so below. Like, and subscribe to my channel. We dropping real knowledge, you know, and that's my take upon it, you know, and the ropes around the trees and the way you can like probably tap in and like how we got the black holes and everything, man. Get to the other side of the tree, become a part of the tree, go to a higher dimension upon the tree. And that's what very well might be symbolizing. They might be showing us this in the cartoons and in movies of people, civilizations that stayed in trees. And I've seen movies of Smurfs and different type of elves and gnomes things that the tree was so big, one part stayed on one part and the other part stayed on another part, and they'd go to war. And that's very well, they might be showing us the truth of how this universe is built. And one more thing before we get up out of here. I know this video probably going on an hour, but it's good. This a follow up from the last video when we was talking about the Jumanji. This is how the trees communicate. You know what I'm saying? So when they talk about the multiverse, they might be talking about other cosmic trees. We might be in a cosmic forest. As above, so below. You know what I'm saying? And how these trees, these is the roots that connect and talk to each other. And these go all around the earth. This is the network. The other roots is for the trees to feast. Trees are multi-dimensional. Like I said in the last video, you think the tree be there. You could be walking down the street and walk past the tree and then walk all the way down the street and walk past the neighbor tree of that tree, and it's the same kind of tree. And that tree still watching you because it done jumped and switched places with that tree. Trees are multi-dimensional, man. Trees multi-dimensional, man. You could do a lot with trees and magic, man. And I'm breaking it down to y'all, man. These trees talk to each multi-dimensional scale. They cosmic trees talking on to other cosmic trees. So trees can take you to different dimensions, to different universes type. You know what I'm saying? If we looking at trees that talk to each other and living on a big tree that's a part of a bigger tree that a piece of fruit of, we can connect on, that's a part of a whole multi-dimensional trees, and the neighboring tree might be the same type of tree. That's how we can go to different dimensions and be in the same planet and different scenarios. You never know, man. It get deep. It get deep. As above, so below. That's all I know. That's my take on it. Like, subscribe. Um, Open minds. We trying to do a couple shows. I'm gonna give y'all some updates. I need some people to come on, talk about they experiences. You know, they take on near death experiences, ghost experiences, things of that nature, UFO experiences, alien experiences. If inbox, I'm gonna leave the Facebook in the description, and I might very well do a part 3 to this because this get deep with these trees, man. It really get deep with these trees and the magic and what happens to people when they consume mushrooms, when they consume trees, when they, like I say in the last video, don't stay away from the tree with the haze around it deep off in the forest. It might just, you know what I'm saying, take you elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? You consume a mushroom that come off a tree. It's tree mushrooms. It's all different type of mushrooms. It's all different type of ways you can connect with trees. And I'm just glad everybody waking up though. With this open minds, decoding the Christmas tree, tree magic part 2. We gone.